Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Rob Smith for Combat Sports UK. I'm here at Middlesbrough Fight Academy with the Cage Warriors featherweight champion, Harry Hardwick. Harry, how are we, mate?
I'm good. I'm fantastic. Training's picking up. Well, it's been picked up for the last couple of weeks. Good training volume. Feeling energetic despite the graft. Probably die a bit at the weekend, but that's how it is.
And you've got a very big fight coming up. Do you want to tell the fans who you're fighting and where?
Yeah, so I am fighting Keweny Lopes, defending my Cage Warriors title at the Virtual Motors Arena in Newcastle, November 23rd. Keweny Lopes he's got an 11 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw record, but his loss and his draw were in his first 2 fights. He's on an 11-fight winning streak, something like 8 knockouts and then a submission in there. He's from Nova União, the gym that produced Jose Aldo and Renan Barão and actually BJ Penn back in the day. He's a good fighter from a good gym, and he's coming to Newcastle to get slapped up.
And I saw you post a TikTok and you said how this fight kind of keeps you up at night, but you like that in a way. So what about Keweny Lopes? Is it his? Because I've not seen. There's not really much you can find in him, like fight wise. The only clips I've seen is knocking people dead. So is that what you kind of expect him to come and try to do to you on November 23rd?
Yeah, I've found a few fights of his. To be fair, I've managed to find his. He had a fight in January this year at lightweight for a title that went into the 4th round, and even in that fight he was tired. He was getting beat up. The other guy was trying to take his head off with everything, and the other guy kind of threw it away a little bit. But Cavani, even when he's tired, even when it's not necessarily going his way, he's got that guts about him. He's trying to win every second of the fight, and he's just got that kind of power that you can just. If I fuck up, I'm done. I'm waking up with a torch in my face, So I gotta be on my A game, and I like it. It brings a better me out. It's any motivation is good motivation, and if you can see something that they do well, and you can sort of channel the fear into something productive, then I'm all for it.
And when you were doing the studying the tape, was there any holes in his game that you noticed?
He's a big old lump that swings massive punches, which is it has inherent drawbacks. He's not the most efficient of fighters, but generally very good. Kind of backwards in certain respects. Like a lot of guys will use their straight shots to set up their looping shots, whereas he comes out looping and then eventually he catches people when he actually puts a straight technical one down the middle. So there's a few things that are got to be wary of. Obviously, coming from Nova União, his takedown defense is stellar. In most situations, obviously it's the gym that produced Jose Aldo. They have a very good understanding of how takedown defense in MMA specifically works. But I know what I can do to beat him. I can see many paths to victory, and I'm going to finish him. He's getting finished on November 23rd.
And we kind of spoke about off camera. What do you think a win against Lopes does for your career? Where do you think it takes you next?
Well, obviously, I'm on good form at the minute. I'm Cage Warriors champion. The UFC matchmakers will at very least know who I am, but they will definitely have their eye on this guy because I know they like finishes. I know they like knockouts. That is something that the UFC matchmakers have an eye for. I need to produce more of them. I kind of regret a lot of the fights earlier in my career where I'd hurt someone and then submit them while they were hurt. I should have just kept punching them. But he's on an 11-fight winning streak. He's got many big knockouts. He's from a big reputable gym. The UFC's definitely going to have their eyes on this guy, and if I go out there and stop him, they won't be able to ignore me for long.
And were you surprised that when you got offered the fight, it wasn't already someone who signed to Cage Warriors? Because I believe that they go outside. I know George had the same problem where, before his last title defence, they struggled to get people to accept the fight. Do you think it was a case of people not wanting to fight you, or do you think there was just no one ready for the time?
I kind of think both of those things dovetail into one. Sometimes people, there's generally a reason people will say no to a fight. It's generally like a timing thing. They might have had an injury from another fight, or it might just not fit into what they're doing. But honestly, my honest, deep down opinion, I don't care. This fight excites me. It was just this person I'd never heard of, and then I was looking at it, I was like, oh fuck, I'm excited about it. I'm fucking keeps me up at night, gets me up on a morning. I'm buzzing for this.
And it's not just yourself on the card, you've also got your teammate and good friend Leon Arms on the card. What can we expect from Leon? Because it's been a while since we've seen him fight.
I think we're going to expect some good shit from Mr. Arms. Obviously, he's out living it up in San Diego. Probably, yeah, twat. But I think we're going to see big improvements from his last fight. I think obviously Leon's not going to go out and make excuses, but I know that there were things that happened in training immediately before that fight that, actually fighting probably wasn't the smartest decision to have made, but he did anyway, and he pulled through against a really tricky, tough opponent, managed to bash the guy 2-1, and that was like Leon on a really, really off day. The kid is just a fighter, he's a scrapper, and yeah, we're going to see more of that, but honestly, the technical improvements that I've been seeing, obviously he sent me some sparring videos, and I'm excited for people to see Leon Arms come November 23rd.
We've kind of spoke about the card off camera, but it's a stacked card. And do you think the fact that Cage Warriors have invested, I think there's 9 Northeast fighters in the card, do you think they're starting to realise that the Northeast is a hub for serious MMA talent?
Oh, they can't deny it now. And if I defend my belt, and if the UFC don't pick me up, I could try and put in a word with Steve Gibson. I don't know him, but I know people who know him. I reckon Cage Warriors can do a stadium show in the Northeast. Obviously, we're all cheapskates, so we're going to have to find some way of keeping ticket prices low. But if the ticket prices are low, everyone will be up for it. The people in the Northeast love a fight. We've got amazing talent, from all levels and pro now. Riverside Stadium, Cage Warriors 200. What we saying?
I think that would be like every Northeast fan's dream. I think I'd pay good money to go see that. But I think Borough fans have to pay £35 for a ticket now anyway, so I think they kind of used to having to spend a little bit more. So Steve Gibson sorted that out, by the way.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, we spoke about the whole card. And I know you're not just focused on Lopez, but is there anyone in the division potentially? You mentioned how off camera you might have to have another fight after this in Cage Warriors. Is there any other people in the featherweight division that you've been keeping your eye on?
Obviously, people will start saying stuff if I don't mention Luke Riley. We've both trained together in the past. We have a good relationship with Next Gen. We understand the value of that fight, so it would need to be something special for that fight to take place. But friendship and gym relationship aside, we're both competitors. We both would relish that opportunity for a scrap. Other than that, I just want to bash Lopez's head. Do you know what I mean?
And when you come into a camp, obviously, from a fan's perspective, is there any, say, what's the word I'm looking for? Is there any sacrifices that you make or any changes that you make from regular training that the fans might not see that might surprise people?
As far as changes from regular training, I probably actually do maybe a little bit less volume. It's not as different now I'm doing preparing for a 5-rounder, but just volume decreases a bit, intensity increases. Generally, I have a very high training volume year-round. When I'm in fight camp, it's more about getting the appropriate intensity to prepare you for the intensity of a fight. But, I don't know. If I won the Euro Millions tomorrow, I'd be living the same life I live now. I don't really feel like I'd sacrifice a whole bunch. I work with a nutritionist for 6 weeks and can't pig out. Yeah, it's not like I'm a prisoner of war who is not sure if I'm never going to eat again. I know once I've fought, I'll be able to eat what I want. So, that's not really a sacrifice. I'm very happy preparing for fights. I love preparing for fights. It's what I love doing. It's what I want to do. And then I maybe have to sacrifice a little bit of coaching. I can't coach be as attentive as a coach as I want to be. But it doesn't matter. Once I've fought, I can be. So it's all good.
And your walkout last time was a video game themed walkout. Are you going to go for the same again?
No, I haven't. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Just it has to. There's a certain feeling that I'll get when I listen to something. I'm like, no, this is what I'm going to walk out to. And if I normally don't like to decide until closer to the fight. No, I don't have any inkling of what I'm going to enter to this time.
And my final question is, can we get an official prediction for the fight?
Probably going to stress him out to the point where he collapses.
Perfect. Harry, thank you very much, mate.
No worries.